Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks Thought of the Day for Thursday, July 6th, 2017. As you can see, it's a full house tonight, so let's introduce everybody. We have Adam. We have Kirk.
Yo, what's up?
We have Jordan.
Hello.
And we have Joseph.
Hey.
Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. So it is day 9 of YouTube purgatory for me. So we are recording tonight on Skype. There is no live link going on, so I apologize. We really miss you. And according to YouTube, they are diligently working on this, but it could take days, weeks, or months for them to fix this. So earlier today, Kyle MacLachlan took to Facebook Live on the Twin Peaks on Showtime Facebook page, and he took questions for about 18 minutes. It was everything we expect from Kyle MacLachlan. He was, intelligent. He was charming. He was shy. He was awkward. He's Kyle MacLachlan. He's our Agent Cooper. It's wonderful to see him take part in this. Did you guys get a chance to see any of this?
Yep.
I did watch it, yes.
I did not watch it, but I read a few of the stuff on Hollywood Reporter or one of those sites. Yeah.
Well, let's get to some of the highlights. One was someone asked him if he could play any role except Agent Cooper, who would he play? And he said he would like to play the Giant. But he made some funny thing about saying like he wants to dunk basketballs or something. I was like, okay, well I've never seen the Giant or 7 question marks as he's referred to in this new series, dunk basketballs. But maybe he knows something that we don't. Obviously, he read the entire screenplay and we haven't seen the whole thing yet. So maybe the Giant does play basketball later in this new series. Another thing he said is that Laura Dern was always Diane. When someone asked him, how did he picture Diane being before this new series? And, this is something that I've been saying for a long time on this channel, that, back in 1990, movie stars couldn't go to TV as easily as they can do today. I think it worked, too. Obviously, just not having Diane there made it kind of just a fun little thing. But unfortunately, it caused many people for 25 years to insistently tell me that they thought Dale Cooper was insane and that Diane never existed. And I was like, no. And so
that's a really silly theory.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that Mark Frost and David Lynch at least put that theory to bed. Another thing that Kyle talked about is the creation and the look of the doppelganger in this new series, and how that was very crucial for him and David Lynch to get that look right. And, I know we've only seen 8 episodes, but I think they nailed it. I mean, Frank Silva as Bob, he wasn't an actor, but David Lynch brought out the best in him in that performance. But I think Kyle MacLachlan is doing an amazing job channeling that Frank Silva bravado. When he gets out of that car in the first episode and, he walks up to that little shack in the woods, I mean, it's just like, wow, he just so personifies this doppelganger with Bob inside of him. I mean, it was amazing. What do you guys think of his portrayal so far as the doppelganger?
Honestly, I think it's pretty amazing, and I would almost liken it to Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. The scene that really gave me that vibe was when he was invited in by the warden to talk about the blackmail, and just this the cold dead stare that he gives. You just feel how in charge of the situation he's in, and I don't know, it gave me this this shiver that I really haven't gotten from a villain since I saw No Country for Old Men.
This version's a lot more calculated than the old Bob too. He made the right decisions, but this one seems like he's actively thinking about what he's doing. Whereas with the other Bob, you don't really know. He was, he's just insane. Now you've got cold calculating.
That could be as well. I don't know if you wanted to allude to that. Was probably because Bob and a version of Dale was probably merged. I think that's a theory that was going on as well. So it's not just totally Bob. because we saw
Exactly.
Bob separate from him. So that's why
Exactly,
he is part of Dale, who is a very calculated person in real life, and that will. And I think that Cal McLaughlin will definitely at least get nominated for something because this man is totally killing it as Evil Coop. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that when Bob was in Leland Palmer, he had to stay kind of quiet and kind of pick and choose when he was going to come out. Whereas for 25 years, this doppelganger and Bob have been working hand in hand in a way that Bob doesn't have to hide. He's just able to just flaunt himself. So that's a different persona right there. This is
That's a good point.
This is Bob and the doppelganger unhinged. They can just they own the landscape. They can walk up to people and just grab shotguns out of people's hands. And, Leland.
Interesting to see what they would have done if Frank were still alive.
Yeah, I don't think that it would have been Frank Silva playing that role.
Yeah,
I think it would still have been Kyle. But hopefully they would have found ways around the obligatory look at yourself in the mirror shot, that we got through a couple episodes of season 2.
That's
think
if that death didn't affect the storyline as it is. Like, could have been a different storyline, maybe.
Well, I mean, like, this is Twin Peaks: The Return. This is not. While we may say it's Twin Peaks season 3 because it technically is.
Yeah.
If this was 1991, this is not the season 3 we would have gotten.
Right.
At all.
Right.
True.
Apparently, from what I've read, a lot of what's in the new season is the blueprint that they had started for season 3, minus a whole lot of different things that obviously have only to do with what the story picked up earlier on.
Mine is zombie Ted Raimi.
Well, I don't think that they would have done the Rancho Rosa stuff like they're doing right now, because a lot of the stuff that they're doing at the moment seems like an extension of things that David Lynch has been working on since Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire, that type of thing, and he wasn't there creatively in 1991 yet. So even if it was a similar blueprint, I don't think that it would have come across the same way.
No.
I think 25 years in the void did it a lot of favors.
Yeah, and seeing this new story, it kind of makes sense why maybe some of the Twin Peaks regulars aren't in this. Because when we saw that cast list, yeah, it was huge, but all us Twin Peaks fans noticed who was absent. And so we're like, well, what are you talking about? How can Piper Laurie not be in here? She wanted to be in the new series. She told me in an interview that she wanted to be in this. But that's because I think many of us thought that, this whole series was going to be in Twin Peaks. And it was going to be sort of a similar feeling show. And obviously
they're going on what they believe they have to do, not on what they like. It's the opposite of like the new Star Wars, where they feel they have to recreate everything exactly the same. David Lynch has just been saying, if you don't already know exactly what's going on, you can go right home. There's no time for you in this show, And I feel like it's the antithesis to like what everything Hollywood is doing with rebooting everything.
I was surprised, to be honest, that this didn't start with some sort of mystery, get people into it, and then
But everybody thought it would. Yeah.
Well, because
that's what I thought too.
Because logically, that's how you bring in new viewers. Yep. Nope. The first scene, we're in the Black Lodge, and the moment that happened, man, I was just in my head applauding. I was just like, wow, they're really gonna do this. They're really gonna go there. And then when it began with the giant, or 7 question marks, talking to Dale, I was like, okay. Like, right there, it said, new fans, I hope you're caught up. Because we're not stopping. And they haven't even stopped long enough for a lot of the old fans. I mean, there's a lot of people who are digging this show, but there's a lot of older fans that are just like, I'm out, I'm done. So Kyle was continued to be asked questions. One thing that he did say is that even though he read the script, even though he filmed the majority of this new series, he didn't know how it was going to look or feel. He didn't, work with some of the other actors, like especially like all of episode 8. He wasn't even, well, he was there at the doppelganger at the beginning part, but it's the for the majority of that episode he wasn't in it, and it's the only episode so far in the history of Twin Peaks that does not have Dale Cooper proper in it. Unless, of course, that is Dale Cooper that wakes up from the ground. I mean, I guess we'll find out. But so he says that this new series is unfolding as much for him as it is for all of us, and that's exciting for him.
Lynch doesn't do anything like anybody else, so I don't know. Like, I thought it too, but I don't know why I expected that him doing a return reboot type series would be at all normal. Like, obviously, he was going to have a totally different take on it. I think that with it, I feel that when I watch an episode of it, it's like, at the end of it, you're frustrated by it. You don't even know, you don't know what most of it meant. You forget most of the scenes. You have to watch them 2 or 3 times. But by then, every scene because they're all so iconic and well shot and well written and acted. And I don't know. I don't care what he shows me. I will watch it.
Well, yeah, I got an email today from somebody saying, I just started rewatching it again. And they got to the Sam and Tracy stuff at the beginning with the glass box. And they're like, this feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't even gone back to that glass box since, so.
I've watched that episode probably 4 times, and on the last 2, I had to fast forward through some of those long shots. There, trying to get through the 4 episodes in one night.
We haven't gotten back to the Chip story either.
Or the Hastings, Bill Hastings' wife who got shot.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's found her body yet. He said it's George's gun, so I'm guessing maybe George went there, found his gun, and was like, oh, I'm in trouble, better hide the body. Might be something like that.
Let's hear this quote from Kyle. He says, I think we all knew, referring to David Markin himself, it was going to be a challenging journey for the audience, simply because it is 18 parts of one giant piece, and it's sequential. So people really have to stay with it. And also, David's storytelling is filled with imagery and different perspectives and characters and things that may initially be confusing to people. But ultimately, everything will come back together and make sense. It will be clear. But in the meantime, it's challenging. The other part of that is that there has been a real, complete love from a large part of the audience for this new direction of Twin Peaks. No one has ever seen anything like this on TV before, and that's some of the excitement. So again, he's saying, that we're going to be rewarded for all the stuff we've been going through, which I love.
I just hope it's not too easy. I don't think it will be, though.
I don't think it will be.
I think their idea of closure is probably going to be very different than what a lot of people expect. Like, we'll probably feel that closure, but it's going to be nothing that we expect. It's not going to end like, oh, Cooper's happy and chilling in the town of Twin Peaks. It's going to be something probably that none of us expect.
I think it'll just be something, the close will be a strong inference. It'll be enough so that things seem as if they've come together, but it won't give us all the details. I'm fairly confident of that, too, because we're still going to get a large chunk of information with the final dossier.
Well, we also have 10 more episodes, too. And
I just mean beyond that.
I mean, episode 8 was like, no one saw that coming.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, when Ray shot the doppelganger and those, I don't know, Dugpas or woodsmen or whatever we want to call them, came out and started doing a little ring around the rosy around his body, I think all of us as fans were like, oh my Lord, what is going on? Because everyone,
I think anybody would have just lost their mind at that point, because nobody expected that, nobody saw that coming, and that was totally crazy.
I mean,
Crazy.
I got so many people saying to me, how long do you think Ray's going to last in this episode? Do you think he'll be dead before the episode starts? I'm like, no, because they have to show Cooper or the doppelganger extracting the info from him to get about Betty. No, I mean, it's just like anything you expect to happen. It's almost like they go, well, obviously everyone thinks we're going this way, so we're going to go this way, and then from that direction we're going to splinter off a million other directions. I didn't expect to see and then they played that like weird music when they were coming out and playing with the body, and that
whole scene works so well. It's terrifying to watch.
Right.
Yeah, and that was before the atom bomb went off.
Yeah, that leads into it, and then it doesn't let up from there. So if you're confused by that part, it's like, well, it's not going to get any easier for you, bud.
Well, again, the atom bomb and the bug thing, that was a carryover from Fire Walk with Me. In the initial stages, the movie was going to have that sequence in it.
Really?
Yeah, well, maybe not written the way it is now, but the idea of an atom bomb going off and infecting insects or bugs, and that being an opening to the Black Lodge. And I almost, now, when I think about it now, after seeing what Lynch gave us, man, I would have loved to have seen that instead of the whole Teresa Banks stuff, man. on the big screen, if you were to see that, and all of a sudden then it goes from that to Laura Palmer's story, that would have been just a mind explosion.
It sets you up good though for what for what it's trying to tell you. Like you get the idea. Like even during the Nine Inch Nails song, you don't know what's going on. Why? Like it's why they're using Nine Inch Nails, a popular band. It doesn't seem to fit any of the other music they put in, and I don't like them. But halfway through that song, I was like, oh, okay, something big's coming, and then it's right from there to the bomb.
Well, I hope something big came, because they gave us the full Nine Inch Nails performance.
It really feels like the song is maybe highlighting the fact that, Bob's been taken out of Cooper, or Mr. C. And I'm really curious how that's going to play out, because, they sort of presented the idea that, it's not Bob running around in a meat suit. Like, the doppelganger is sort of his own person, and Bob is with him. So I'm not really I wonder what it means that Mr. C is now not going to have Bob with him. Like, how does he change? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And is it still Mr. C?
Right.
Because some people have said it could have been Cooper that wakes up in his body, and we'll get another episode showing him getting pulled out of Rancho Rosa. Maybe we'll get a flash.
Right. We'd have to see what happened to Dougie before that happened in order for it to pay off the Dougie storyline.
Right.
Yeah, because if that is him, it doesn't make any sense that Dougie's even in it. But I'm confused by that gold ball when Dougie's head disappeared and that gold ball come out. Like, is that supposed to be the essence of Cooper, maybe? And then is that stuck in the lodge?
I think so, because in mythology, gold represents
Your spirit.
that which you desire the most.
Yeah.
And so some people think, so then it means his soul. It's a part of him. One
thing that's pretty interesting is Lynch has been playing with that idea of that sort of gold ball and black flame in some of his artwork. If you go to Christabel's website, she has some photographs of her that have been taken by Lynch, and in one of them, it has the black flame and the gold ball behind her. So it's an idea that he's been playing with in his art for a while.
And same thing with Sonny Jim and Janie E, right? Like, those names have been showing up in some of his paintings before, or his artwork.
Yeah, I think Sonny Jim was in some weird short with this screaming kid or something like that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. I don't know if you guys saw this today, but if you have, I'm going to link it down in the show notes. Vulture.com posted an article today by Matt Zoller's Sites. He's the editor-in-chief of RogerEbert.com. And he wrote an article called "The Best Show on TV Right Now is Twin Peaks: The Return." And he's saying that him and a bunch of critics voted this the best show of the year after 4 episodes. But it's a great article. It's a real in-depth article. Did you guys get a chance to see this?
Oh, yeah. I loved it. It was really well written.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get to...
Oh, well, you definitely should check it out. I like reading articles like this because it makes up for all the terrible articles I have to read throughout the week about the show. Okay, next is the Comic-Con Twin Peaks announcement. So, for you guys that don't know, Comic-Con, July 21st, 2:45 to 3:45 p.m. Hall H, of course, so it's 5,000 seater. There's going to be a panel for this new series, moderated by Damon Lindelof, who, of course, is responsible for Lost and the Leftovers?
Yeah.
And the people in attendance will be Kyle MacLachlan, Tim Roth, who we still haven't seen in the new series, Dana Ashbrook, Kimmy Robertson, Matthew Lillard, Everett McGill, James Marshall, Don Murray, and Naomi Watts. Obviously, no Mark Frost and no David Lynch. Surprise, surprise.
They're not taking questions.
No, they are not.
In any case, even if David Lynch goes on that, I doubt he'll answer anything as well. He'll be like the worst person to actually interview, to ask questions. Yeah.
Of course. And then they put up this as well. Immediately following the Comic-Con panel, select cast members will be available for an autograph signing at the Entertainment Earth booth, number 2343. So that means, no, you will not be getting Naomi Watts' autograph that day. Here's the part that we're all going to have to stay off the internet for, though.
Yeah, I'm afraid of this.
Exclusive advanced screening of Part 11 on Friday, July 21st at 10 p.m. Pacific Time in room 6A for Comic-Con badge holders on a first-come, first-served basis. People are going to get trampled. Let's just be honest here. Right? And they're going to...
People will either be trampled or trampling, or they won't have any idea what's going on there or care about it. It'll be one or the other.
It's going to be all of that and everything in between. But they are going to see Part 11 at least 2 days before we do. So
cool.
Stay off the internet.
Yeah.
Unplug the router.
Exactly. But hey, to all those that are there at Comic-Con, have fun. Enjoy it. I'm very envious. I don't usually want to go to Comic-Con because I like getting the panels. You can get them on YouTube. Believe it or not, a lot of times they stream them. So we'll at least probably see the Twin Peaks panel. We'll probably see that. So that's a good thing, and obviously that will be shared all over the place on Facebook. But don't expect to get any answers from that thing.
No.
So, yeah. In fact, I almost think it's a little cruel to have actors have to discuss this show in the middle of it playing because they can't say anything. You know, it's almost like they should just hold off all press until it's over. There's one other fun topic I think I want to bring up, and that is what happened this July 4th. I got on the internet and just checking my email, checking my Facebook, seeing how life is out there, and I get notified by a concerned viewer of this podcast. So now this has all been fixed by now, but I just want to walk you through what happened. There is a group on Facebook called Twin Peaks 2017 for this new series. I'm not positive, but I think it has over 20,000 members. A lot of people. I got contacted because they posted up 13 rules for posting on their site or on their Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
These are the 13 rules. Number 1, non-Twin Peaks related self-promotion. I get that. You know, there's a lot of people that are trying to capitalize on Twin Peaks. Okay, I get it. Number 2, 1 or 2 word posts are not allowed. So I guess you can't put a picture of Cooper and say, this. The next one is, there will be no Tammy, Preston, James and Evelyn, or Lucy and Donna bashing. So I guess you can bash Josie Packard all you want. There will be no Michael J. Anderson topics or memes.
Well, that makes more sense than not letting people make fun of characters. It's one thing if you're upset about people making fun of actual people. I think that's already stupid, but we're not allowed to make fun of fictional characters on this site.
Well, you know, I mean, the James bashing went so far and wide that Lynch and Frost specifically had a moment in this new series where Shelley says James has always been cool.
I didn't know anything about people. I always thought that section of episodes with James in season 2 was stupid, but I didn't realize how much people didn't like it until I saw that, and then I started seeing comments about that scene where she says how cool he is. Like, he was never cool. Like, I always thought he was pretty cool. I don't know.
Well, there's a interview I did with James Marshall that's on this channel, and we discussed the whole James and Evelyn subplot, and he thinks it's stupid too. But hey, he's not going to say that at the time. It's more work for him,
no,
right?
Okay. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. And honestly, is it dumb? Yes. I mean, it really doesn't go anywhere. It's silly. But I will say this. Those scenes are, you know, they're well written, they're well acted, they're well directed. I mean, it just doesn't fit in what we're doing with this show. You know what I mean? It's sort of the James Hurley spinoff episode.
It's the only self-contained thing in Twin Peaks. It's like really has no, at least that you can see, no outside ramifications. It's like literally he went off on his own little adventure and came back, and it's very self-contained. Anytime they leave Twin Peaks, they do it to blow things up bigger, and that made it smaller.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think one of the disappointments of that to me is, like, I wish, and this is all in retrospect, but I wish James Hurley, when he was with Evelyn, maybe found out that she was like Teresa Banks' sister or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So
anything, just give us some connective tissue.
So that when he goes back to Donna and she encourages him to ride away into the sunset, and she says, you know, I want you to go somewhere where you don't think about me and Laura and Maddie, and that would have made even more sense if he ran away from Twin Peaks and still somehow got involved in the Laura Palmer mystery without meaning to. Like, it just, everything around him was just bringing him back into that web.
One thing I think they could have done, and they had played around with this earlier, but they never got around to it. Maybe they could have done something like some sort of confrontation between him and his mom. That was something that they'd always like talked about, you know, a sort of interesting part of his character that they never really addressed. I thought that maybe that would be more interesting.
And they shot stuff for that too in season 1.
Right.
And I was always hoping those scenes would have made it onto the Blu-ray or the Gold Box deleted scenes section. I would have loved to have seen what James's mom's subplot would have been. I think it was just a lot of her just drinking in like a hotel room or something of that nature. All right, so let's go on to their more rules here. There will be no objects that vaguely resemble something on Twin Peaks.
What does that mean?
What?
I guess you can't just like post a log from your backyard or something.
No triangles, no logs.
Yeah. Now, this next one I don't get, so maybe you can explain this to me, because I don't understand it. There will be no color block text posts? What does that mean? Does that mean like where you like have like highlighted words or something?
I don't know, you could do that on Facebook.
I don't know. So
maybe they think you can and they're worried people are going to do it, but you actually can't do it.
Right. The next one is there will be no real life stuff that is a stretch to connect. So do not post zigzags on the ground, your owl stickers, the numbers 315 on anything, carpets, cushions, or shower curtains.
I feel like that's kind of redundant. It's sort of covered in the no real life objects or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing is like, well, what do you want us to post? Just regurgitated articles? This is a group that I don't belong to. Not because I was against them. I choose very carefully what I'm kind of joining on Facebook, because I just don't want a bunch of stuff on my feed all the time. So this was all new to me, and I couldn't access this. Someone sent this to me because it's a closed group. Okay, the next one is there will be no one-sentence posts. So we can't have 1 or 2 words or 1 sentence. So I guess they
So
want...
so what constitutes a sentence then?
It's just anything with a subject and a
With a period at the
predicate.
Just don't put any periods.
Yeah.
Right.
Just write like Hemingway, just 1 long semicolon.
Yeah.
Okay, there will be no bad or unfunny memes. Okay, what constitutes unfunny?
That's subjective.
That's really subjective. That's
It's
terrible.
like as if the communists took over Twin Peaks. What the heck?
All right, the next one is there will be no pet pics or videos. Okay, so no dressing your dog up like the log lady, I guess.
I'd like to see that.
This one's one of my favorites. There will be no I can't even read this. There will be no non-Twin Peaks related owls posted here.
But what if it was the same owl that was in Twin Peaks?
Well, no,
Yeah.
that is that's a Twin Peaks related owl.
But how would they be able to police that? What if you had that owl and had new pictures of him?
Okay, you're getting a little too smart here. Okay, next one. There will be no group members' children's pictures or videos. And the final rule that is added, there will be no mention of obnoxious and anonymous. So I posted about this, and I wrote, apparently there's a new rule in the Twin Peaks 2017 Facebook group which forbids people from discussing my videos or channel. Wow. If true, thanks for the support, guys. Well, they got inundated with people. I got contacted by viewers, fans, and yes, I will say even celebrities about this. They were just like, well, you're famous now. Like, they don't mention any other podcast, any other video maker, anything. It was just, there will be no mention of Obnoxious and Anonymous.
What did you do?
Yeah.
It must be something.
That's the question. Right? What did I do? Because I was shocked to just be name flagged like that. So anyway, one of the admins came forward and wrote, Obnoxious and Anonymous historically isn't bothered by spoilers. That's great for them and for people who don't mind spoilers, but we are refraining from them here. Whereupon I responded back to somebody who wrote that to me. I wrote, this is absurd. This is a closed group, so only those who have joined can access. Naming my site specifically is a real stain on this community. What about all the other think pieces and videos that go up after an episode airs? Why aren't they named?
What's their general problem is that you spoil stuff after it's out? Isn't that what everyone's doing? That's what you do. You can't make a video and not say what you were making the video on.
I never go out of my way and say, I'm spoiling this. I'm just saying, I'm going to discuss this. If you haven't seen the episode, please don't watch it.
I don't know why anybody would go watch a 2-hour, 5-person webcam podcast before the actual episode. Like,
The admins of that page.
yeah, I guess so. Jeez.
Okay, so more people complained after that. And it turned out, without getting into explicit detail, that even the reason they gave was not the real reason why I got blocked. And again, I wasn't even on that group. They just said that they don't want other people discussing my site. And it didn't have anything to do with me. It didn't have anything to do with the site in general. It basically had to do with people that, have been on this podcast before that they don't like. So, anyway, more people complained after that. And so they said, okay, the people have spoken. And they took my name and channel off the banned list. So yes, Obnoxious and Anonymous is no longer banned on the Twin Peaks 2017 group. It took several people to get to the bottom of this and more people to complain about it. And a lot of tweets about it. But yeah, don't you find that just so peculiar?
But they're more efficient than YouTube, at least, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got this turned around in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I even had to try to turn this around because it's a site I don't even belong to. But it annoyed so many people that I got notices from other people saying that they quit that group altogether. They're like, that's absurd that they would just signal you out like that for guests you've had on in the past that they don't like.
Yeah. And you got a giant list of rules that make no sense anyway.
I think if you could compare how social media especially has gotten it into the community itself, because back in the day, Twin Peaks, obviously, we didn't have the internet, that sort of thing. So now you see, I think it's kind of ridiculous to have sites and Facebook groups and that sort of thing be so restrictive and so controlling, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone in a Twin Peaks community likes Twin Peaks, right? And just talk about it, just discuss it. You don't have to be that controlling about it. I think it's taking it to a kind of level that I don't really agree with at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little shocked because I was just hopping on Facebook for 5 minutes on July 4th, before I had some barbecue food. And I'm like, what? I got banned? What'd I do now? All right, guys, so let's go to some of these viewer comments and questions here, and we can throw out our 2 cents on them. First one is by Carl, and he writes, I've been thinking a lot about why, story-wise, Bob would be removed from the doppelganger. Why would they decide to do this when we are all expecting an upcoming showdown between Dougie Good Coop versus doppelganger Evil Cooper Bob?
Because you were expecting it. That's the answer.
My conclusion is this. I think we will see this, but without Bob. But there will be another one even bigger. Like in Star Wars Episode 3, while we had Anakin versus Obi-Wan, we also had Yoda versus Palpatine. What if we had Cooper versus Doppelganger while we also get Laura versus Bob? Wouldn't that be the ultimate one? Laura taking revenge on her own murderer. Do we think we're going to see Laura Palmer take on Bob in any way, shape, or form? Not necessarily a physical fight. But do you think it's going to come down to that being one of the elements of this new series?
It's interesting to think about.
Well, it was clear from the episode 8 that in some way that she is the counter to Bob. So it is an interesting theory to think about. I think that it'll be really hard to do that. But obviously Frank Silva is dead, but in some way I tend to think that Laura and Bob will face off, but not necessarily like a fight like that. Maybe it will be she has to save Coop or something from Bob, and Bob is influencing her, or Becky or somebody like that involved, and Laura has to come back again. That is probably how it could go. I have no idea.
I don't even know if it's going to necessarily be that way with good Coop and bad Coop in the way of like a traditional fight, because I think it's what I'm thinking maybe more so is going to happen is, one of the ideas of why Coop didn't get out of the lodge is not because he just couldn't make it out speed wise, but because he didn't face his shadow self and accept it. So I think there might be some situation where Coop is confronted with it, and instead of fighting evil Coop, he's gonna have to say, I accept this as a part of myself and I'm not gonna run from it. And I think maybe they might like merge or something, and that would form the Coop that we like have been missing, They're gonna actually like merge together, possibly.
You think we're gonna
that
get
makes a lot of sense.
You think we're gonna get like footage of them like their heads go into each other?
Some like Lost
Two on the
Highway
nose.
in the jail cell, like weird visuals. That'd be cool.
Okay, next one is by Thomas. He writes, the hieroglyphs in Owl Cave showed the Black Lodge and its entities are older than the creation of the A-bomb. So we're under the impression, right, that the A-bomb did not create the Black Lodge. It just merely opened up the gateway and created the kind of the intercourse between the two
like a
worlds.
rift.
I don't even know if it had anything to do with opening doors to it at all. It might have been in the Black Lodge is the same as it was, and that was just Bob that was being born there.
No,
I
I
didn't
don't
really.
think so.
You know?
Well, I'm sorry. I wasn't talking about that. I just meant the fact that the Black Lodge was born out of the bomb or the explosion. Mostly because, well, the White and the Black Lodge are dualistic, and so they have to spring about around the same time, exactly at the same time. And we know that in the Secret History of Twin Peaks, the tribe Nez Perce saw something akin to a very tall being, a white, shining being.
I think maybe one of the other things that could have happened was, you see the experiment vomiting up all that stuff, and maybe it's not necessarily that, the Black Lodge or Bob was created in that instance, but because, by us detonating the bomb, it's going to create so much pain and suffering. Maybe it's just this, overabundance of Garmonbosia that's being, spewed forth, and maybe that's why you see all the woodsmen in the convenience store, and maybe it's sort of like this free-for-all to feast on all this Garmonbosia that's been released into the world or something.
That's a whole lot of cream corn there.
Yeah.
I think that's close. That sounds close, though.
All right. Nick has sent us a message basically letting people know that if you go to the Inland Empire bonus DVD, or you go on YouTube as well, there's the David Lynch cooking quinoa video.
Yeah.
In which he mentions frog moths.
Yeah.
At one point, 10 minutes in, he says he becomes very excited about creatures flying in the air and refers to them as frog moths. He says frog moths were pulling themselves out of the earth and flying up in front of the stand. So, I mean, let's be honest here. I think, since a lot of people have said that in this new Twin Peaks there's a lot of allusions to a lot of other David Lynch work, yeah, it feels like either these are ideas he's had for a while, or he's just bringing a lot of these ideas all together into one sprawling 18-hour film. Let's be honest here, in 18 hours you can pack in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the chevron pattern floor back in Eraserhead.
True.
There are a lot of people that think that they seem to want to tie those symbols together between the movies, talking about Twin Peaks being in the same universe as Mulholland Drive, except some of the symbolic similarities between the films. But I think it's just something that Lynch has always enjoyed. He just sprinkles it throughout his entire work.
Right. I mean, he even said to Charlie Rose when he was promoting Lost Highway that there is a common denominator to all those films, and the common denominator is that he made them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I want to get your opinion on this. Cutting Dawn 333C writes, I had to sleep on episode 8 and give it some thought. I hated it at first glance, but now I dug it, and now I see. Did you guys groove to this episode right away, or did you have to think about it some?
It was right away.
Yeah.
I find exactly what she said. That's exactly how I felt at first. I did not get it. I really, really wanted to, and then I watched it 2 more times that same night, and then that's all I could think about still. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think everybody was surprised by it. I know that I was, because we just came from an episode before that where everything seemed like it was gaining momentum story-wise. Yeah. A lot of the plot points were coming back to some of the old stuff. And then all of a sudden, the new episode, we just get a completely different thing, a tangent almost.
I'll tell you what surprised me was after the atom bomb sequence and we got the convenience store part.
Yeah.
I thought that's where it was going to end and we were going to move forward. Like that was just going to be like an isolated kind of flashback about something. Mm-hmm. I didn't think once after the Nine Inch Nails performance happened that it would be the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I kept counting the minutes that we were in the craziness and about 10 minutes in, this is probably going to be it for the rest of the episode.
All right. The next one is by Jamie Michelle, who writes, Cam, I saw someone on the Vlog Ladies page. You guys know the Vlog Lady?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I saw someone on the Vlog Ladies page say that Cooper was shot in episode 8 in the original series. Also noticed that when Ray shot him, it was in the exact same spot he was shot back then. Is it future? Is it past? Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, because he's wearing a white shirt and he's bleeding in the same spot. I noticed that too. Because there was a couple shots when he's on the ground and it was very dark. And I thought, oh, wait a minute, is he wearing the suit? And then I had to, no, he's still got the leather jacket on, but it's the same colors as the suit.
Yeah. No wood tick, though.
All right. Next is by Alexander. He writes, if the giant and that woman in the gray, white, or whatever lodge that created Laura, this means that they probably created Laura's cousins. Could Laura's cousin Madeline been manufactured like Dougie? It just feels weird if only Laura was created, but Maddie looks exactly like her and was also killed by Bob. What do you guys think about that?
I'm not
plausible.
I'm
Yeah,
also
it's-
not
Sorry.
entirely convinced that they're necessarily creating Laura in that instance. I don't know if it's just some sort of like representation of her essence, because I feel like, I don't know, if we get too bogged down in this sort of like origin myth, in a way, I feel like by making Laura more special, it kind of makes her situation, I don't know, if she's sort of like this chosen one, sort of chosen to like confront Bob, it sort of robs, I guess, the humanity of like her struggle and like what she had to go through. So I'm kind of hoping it's not some weird like, oh, she was always predetermined to face Bob. So I'm hoping they go a different direction with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have said to me, so that makes Bob the devil, the giant, God, and Loris Jesus.
Lord Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, Susie here, she writes that the alien frog moth climbs into the window the same way that Bob would later do to Laura. So she's pretty convinced that the bug was Bob and not Laura, as some people have suggested.
Maybe the gold Laura ball is already inside of that girl, and that's what Bob's chasing when he crawls in the mouth.
Maybe. But, I will say this, though. No matter what, this creates a whole different scenario than what we thought was happening, right? I mean, I had someone contact me saying, I thought I knew Twin Peaks until I saw episode 8. And basically what they were inferring was that we always just assumed that Laura was just this teenage girl that, had demons and was, strong, and Bob had possessed her dad and he wanted to possess Laura, and Laura fought him off and she died before he could possess her. But now it's like Bob has always wanted to conquer and kill off this power that is Laura Palmer. And, it kind of creates this whole other dimension to it. It's not just this random teenage girl that was just in Bob's sights. She was this chosen one that was sent through galaxies away to save mankind,
Yeah,
It's starting to seem like the battle versus good and evil, right? Like,
say it again.
I said it's starting to seem like they're emphasizing the battle versus good and evil.
I was
or
already
making it.
I was
Well, I
already,
know that's always what it was with the black and white lodges, but
yeah. I mean, I thought we already got that in the original series, but now they're really. I was worried that people were going to interpret this episode 8 as basically David Lynch does midichlorians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving too much of the backstory away, or trying to make Laura Palmer so dang important. Like, we get it, Laura's important. Do we have to have her be created and sent to Earth to save mankind from?
Well, there is episode title Laura is the one too. So
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
maybe he's played on that messianic figure that she unfortunately would be in that. I don't know.
I don't know. It's interesting. I find it fascinating. Sean says, hey, if you think episode 8 is mind-blowing, just wait till the last few episodes air.
yeah.
That's what, honestly, that scares me. I mean, it excites me, but it scares me because I don't know if I want to sit through 3 more episodes of like episode 8, in a row and be left like, oh my Lord.
It's worth it in the long run, I think.
Let's see. Mike D91101 says, I think the White Lodge is more Earth-based, like the Black Lodge. I feel the giant is from a place in outer space, because remember, Major Briggs said that, to Cooper that the frequencies were coming from space. But later on, he, of course, told Cooper that the frequencies were coming more from the woods. And, of course, we know that Mike told, the one-armed man told Cooper that, the giant is known to us. We know of him. And he obviously has access to the Black Lodge because we see him in the final episode. Or at least an image of him. But he isn't in the above the convenience store scene in Fire Walk With Me. And I think that's very telling. And not just the fact that he was busy shooting Addams Family Values at the time. But, I think that they've kind of spun that to their advantage and just say, yeah, he may be a part of the lodges in general, but he's not of the Black Lodge per se.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, do you think the giant is tied directly to the Black Lodge, or?
I'm starting to think that it's the White Lodge that he's taught. Not just from that episode either. Like the stuff that's in the Secret History, and it seems more like they are from a force of good. I'm not sure that the red and white floor is maybe that won't turn out to be the Black Lodge, because they say that that's the waiting room. So what if there's a different place that we haven't seen yet that is actually the Black Lodge?
And I think the giant's portrayed more unambiguously good, and I'd say he's maybe the only lodge spirit that's sort of most often portrayed as being a helpful force, because even the arm and Mike, I think they're more interested in getting Bob back, and the means to do that is by helping Cooper. But they've done some stuff that sort of seems like they could be either good or bad depending on how they feel. So they're a little bit more vague with that, I think. But he's unambiguously good, the giant.
Yeah.
All right. Anne Marie Gibbons says, Leland said Bob used to flick matches at him when he was a boy, saying, "You want to play with fire, little boy?" Makes me compare this to the woodsman saying, "Got a light."
There's at least a connection.
Yeah.
That might be it. Just, thematic connection.
Yeah.
Well, David Lynch always had fire as some destructive force, whereas it's the atom bomb itself that went off. There's a huge ball of fire. The woodsman asking for a light. Bob torturing Leland with fire. Yeah, fire is that destructive force that Lynch always uses in his work. So I guess it's just that basically, probably.
Yeah, it's both destructive and sometimes transformative.
Yeah,
I think that's the other thing about the fire. We especially see that since obviously it's inferred that something of Black Lodge or Black Lodge inhabitants manifest themselves after a very large explosion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tiffany says, I'm thinking that the atom bomb looked like the evolved tree, which may be fitting if that is what brought the Black Lodge to this realm. I went into episode 8 thinking the oddest part would be Nine Inch Nails playing at the Roadhouse with the guy with the pine cone microphone. Yes, I thought it was very odd, too, that the Nine Inch Nails was playing at the Roadhouse. I'm like, wow, the Renaults really know how to book them. Matt Gilbert writes, "This is the water, this is the well, drink deep and descend." David Lynch speaks of diving into the ocean of consciousness during TM practice, and the woodsman was gripping the head, the center of the head, the so-called third eye, as he spoke the words. Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of destruction of heads in that episode.
Yeah. Charles Kidder wants to know, are those dudes the Dugpuz? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Dugpuz usually just refers to any otherworldly entity, really. The first time we heard that word was Wyndham Earl.
Yes.
And his crazy rants at the end of season 2.
Okay, Lion Standing says, there was no firing pin in Mr. C's gun, so Warden gave Ray his own gun.
That's the only thing I've heard so far or thought of that makes sense. Like anything, I know he didn't go into the glove box, so.
Nick GML says, let's stay optimistic for season 4. I think Showtime will do it. Lynch is a drug. Do you think Showtime wants a season 4?
The viewership numbers are pretty scary.
Yeah.
Well, the streaming is not, but the live viewers are.
Yeah.
I guess it's driven more subscriptions than anything else that they've done, but I mean, less than just barely over 500,000 people watched the premiere, and it's been half of that ever since. So.
Right.
That's I can't think of another show that's that low.
No, if this had not been already made, right? I mean,
we probably wouldn't have been this far into it.
No,
probably be the end of it.
No. Immaterial Children, after watching episode 8, sends this message to us. David Lynch in 2017 just told us, "You may think I've gone insane, but I promise I will kill your expectations again."
Yep.
Very true. Line Standing again writes, Douglas Trumbull did the special effects in 2001 and The Tree of Life, and he just got outdid in this episode. I do have to say that atom bomb scene is one of the most beautiful uses of CGI I've ever seen.
I've shown it to people who have no interest in Twin Peaks whatsoever, and as soon as it starts, they can't take their eyes off of it. Like, everybody thinks that's amazing.
And also,
that really surprised me.
And also using the Penderecki music, I mean, that is definitely a call to 2001, and
Yep. Hey, I get a question for you. Maybe you guys know. I have a feeling this is something stupid that I just don't understand. But when the bomb goes off, to the right of it, there's like those lines of. At first, it looked like standing lightning, but as they got in closer, they.
Yeah.
What
the
is
atomic
that?
storm?
Yeah. What is that?
It's just it's lightning that gets produced as a result of the explosion. And
it only happens in one area. It just felt weird.
I'm not sure
to the right of it.
About the specifics of it.
Okay.
It's lightning, though, right? It's electricity. If it's that, then that actually would have a little bit of thematic value in terms of Lynch's whole obsession with electricity being a thing for the spirits and that sort of thing. Since Ronnie Rocket and those days, yeah.
But it turns to smoke, and as the camera goes in, it disperses. So it almost looks like it's rocket trails or something, but then they're too erratic and they mash together, so it looks like lightning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Rad Rob D says, at the end credits of episode 1 and episode 8, they both list Erica Enyon as the experiment. And of course, that is the figure we see in the glass box in episode 1, and it also is the figure we see in episode 8 that's spewing out all the organisms that has Bob in one of them. So obviously that is who just killed Sam and Tracy.
One thing I thought was sort of weird about that, I'm not sure exactly why they did it, but I think in part 1 she's listed as the experimental model, and then 2 she's just listed as the experiment. So I'm not sure if they're just saying in part 1 that this is the model for this creature that we had, and then now we're just calling it the experiment, or if that's supposed to imply any sort of difference between those things.
Right.
Did you see anybody see someone made a few weeks ago, like after episode 4 came out, there's like a mashup of from the time that what's the couple's name, Tracy and
Sam.
Sam and Tracy go into that room. They match it up to the sequences with Dale, so that when Dale hits the glass box, it all lines up. But then it continues on to Dale falling into nothingness, and I think the times lined up so that when the experiment is in that box is the same time that there's banging on the door saying Mother's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's maybe if that thing's chasing Dale, then that might make sense.
Right. David Kirk says the radio station that we see in episode 8, KPJK, was also a TV station in the X-Files episode Rain King. I did not know that.
I have a real quick comment about the radio station. Is anybody worried that some woodsmen are gonna make their way to Dr. Jacoby's place?
I didn't think about that.
That'd be cool.
Klaus wants us to know that after episode 8, the Twin Peaks community lost their virginity again. He said, watching the episode, he's reminded of Oppenheimer's famous words, "Now I am death, the destroyer of worlds." Carolina says, there have been 3 scenes so far in The Return where coins play a role. The casino Dougie scene, the scene with Red and Richard, and now the scene with the girl that gets the bug crawl in her mouth. She finds a coin. Coincidence? What could it mean? Chance or fate? Or with the two sides, the good evil duality, doppelgangers, or No Country for Old Men. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it's just something that's just kind of being played over and over again, or do you think it's there is going to be a tie-in with coins?
I think there is some sort of themes going on with that, with the idea of chance and fate, like especially with the kid getting hit by the car, and so coins, you get heads or tails, so it's a chance thing. But if you also remember, it may be a little throwaway joke, but when we were first introduced to Ike the Spike, he's cataloging dice rolls. So like I feel like it seems like some absurd thing to do. You're cataloging something that's random chance, and but I don't know. It just feels like there's some sort of idea that they're playing with there when it comes to fate and chance.
That's a good point. With the dice rolls, maybe it's like getting your bad luck out of the way. If you see you're on an uptick, go do your killing then.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina continues, much like seeing the atom bomb poster behind Gordon Cole, and then we see that happen in episode 8. She also mentions that Gordon Cole states that he quit smoking, and now we got a light. So bizarre. We have one from Cause, who says that when the atom bomb goes off in White Sands, New Mexico, it's 5:29 a.m. Basically Mountain Standard Time. I know it says MWT, but it's basically Mountain Standard Time. That when the bomb goes off, it's actually 4:30 a.m. Pacific Time, which is where Twin Peaks would be. Because it is an hour earlier, right? So 4:30 again plays a role here.
Okay.
Mark says the convenience store looks like it's a facade built for the atom bomb test, like the many fake buildings that were constructed to see what a blast would do to them. Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like it.
It almost looks like a miniature, the way that the door's flapping so fast and stuff. Until you see the shadows on the ground of the oil people, I thought I was looking at a miniature, and I'm still not 100% convinced it's not a miniature, but...
In one of the Facebook groups I'm in, somebody posted a photo of the set, and it's actually a building painted like black and white.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Carl says, did you notice that the mother has little devil horns at each side of her head that resembles the black figure head drawing that Evil Cooper showed Daria? I've looked.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the horns.
Yeah.
Are there horns?
It's got
but
two little
they're not-
feeler thingies.
They're not going up; they're going downwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks more like hanging antennae or something like that.
Okay. Kirsten says, thank God we have 2 weeks off until the next episode. My brain needs a timeout. Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, they couldn't have picked a bigger episode to go on a break from. Tarma Goat writes, the woodsman recited the poem or mantra and everyone kind of passed out. But the girl willingly lay down and closed her eyes as if accepting whatever the woodsman was offering. As soon as this happens, he stops reciting and kills the guy. So it just seems like it was some sort of ritual.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could say she fell into it. It looks as if it just was edited so that it was showing people falling asleep, and then at the end, the most important character, the girl falling asleep, so the bug can walk in.
But it wasn't like the other ones fell asleep. She got into position, like she was already sitting on the bed, but she laid down first. The other people just collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was also already on a bed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Collapsing on a bed would look like that. She just did it slower.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that someone was saying that this could have been just one girl of many girls to be infected, like the bug entered. So I don't know if that makes sense to you all.
It did look like there were multiple eggs in that vomit
right.
the experiment spit out, so it could be multiple people that's happened to.
Do you think that we're going to come back to these events in episode 8 in some way, shape, or form? Or do you think that this is a standalone thing and we're to draw from this and infer from it with future episodes? You know, I mean, do you think we're going to get an explanation, a little bit of an explanation about some of this, about who the girl was? Or are we to just assume that what happened to the girl is probably what happened to Leland?
I think some of this information we probably won't get until we get the final dossier. But I think some of it might get a little tied together. We might come back to it. I don't know. It could really go either way at this point.
I feel like they're probably not going to go back to that time. Like, they might give us some information in the present that explains it if you're paying attention. But I can't imagine, because they can't do it. Well, I guess they could do whatever they want. They could put another whole episode in like that if they wanted to. And I don't see them cutting to it and then back to present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Debbie writes, did you ever think that the woodsmen operate on a different speed or frequency than everyone else? Like when Bob killed Maddie, it's all slowed down. Except this time, probably because technology now allows, the woodsman was operating at what appears as normal speed to us, but his victims all slowed down like they're from his perspective. Whereas when the experiment kills Tracy and Sam, the experiment moves super fast because it's from their perspective.
That's cool.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
That's it. The radio station stuff is definitely in slow mo, like it's definitely slowed down. But at the time, you're just thinking, oh, it fits that swing. You know, that music's so good. You don't really think anything of it. But that, you know, if it's not just a stylistic choice, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's initially what I thought it was. It was just an artistic choice that he was doing for the scene.
But I mean, you never know. Like
that could be how it starts, and then they just kind of weave it however they will.
It seems like they do make a point, though. Like the person said that they don't show the woodsman ever in slow motion. It's only the victims.
Yeah.
Well, you see the woodsman that's talking in the mic. He's in regular speed.
Right. Yeah. Like he says, got a light in regular speed, but the people are screaming in slow motion when that's happening.
Everything about that guy's performance changes the minute he grabs the mic. He goes from being this weird, you know, kind of like bum stumbling around. And he gets that, and he's got the radio voice. He kind of, his posture changes. Like, it really feels like he's supposed to be on the radio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe there's something there.
Okay. M. Thorntwig writes, when I heard the woodsman speak the poem, I immediately thought about Wyndham Earle when he's bringing Annie to the Black Lodge. He says, I tell you they have not died. Their hands clasp yours and mine. And then Annie went into a spell, just like the woodsman with his poem, making people listening fall asleep. That's interesting. I like that a lot. That maybe, you know, there are certain phrases that you can say that will put people in a trance.
Yeah, and is it like Wyndham maybe learned how to do that?
Well, if anyone, Wyndham would have, because he spent so much time studying it. All right, guys, so we're going to wrap this up for tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I'm just going to go around. Adam, you're frozen up there.
What?
But we can still hear you.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is called Hoveland. 008 or just Hoveland will probably find it. I do comedy videos. I actually did an episode of my show that was a parody of Twin Peaks a few years ago where we built like a little red room in my basement, and that's in there somewhere. You can find it.
How long did that take you to do?
We did it on a whim in an afternoon. We were going to shoot something and didn't know what it was, so we went to the fabric store and found the fabric for the floor that was the exact same design. It was just smaller, and we hung up some red curtains. And we just got some weird lights and tilted them in weird ways. It turned out pretty good for something done real quick.
Don't tell me this kind of thing, because, you know, my wife's going to go away for a few days, and I want to decorate my house like the Black Lodge.
I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't really use that either. But if anybody wants to get in contact with me, my YouTube handle is Christ++.
All right.
I'm not really a big guy on the internet and that sort of thing, but I guess my Facebook page, you could check me on there, Kirk Bajan, Bhajan, yeah. And I think it's a nice thing being part of a Twin Peaks community. It's a very weird community, but I think you're all super intelligent and really perceptive people. So, you know, yeah, it's nice being part of that.
I'm on Twitter at JordanTX. That's JordanTX.
All right, guys. Well, you know how to find me. Check the show notes below. We have a new Twin Peaks episode coming this Sunday. So in the meantime, you guys take it easy, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Later.